Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. Hi, I'm Iris Acker, and I'm your host this evening. The topic today is the Mai Kai. Let's meet our panel before we meet our guest. First up is Bill Hirshman. He is an arts journalist and a theater critic, and a very good panelist as well. We're so glad to have him. Karen Stevens, who's a brilliant, award-winning actress and sometimes a teacher, a director. Always glad to have Karen light up our set. And today, because Michael McKeever couldn't be with us, we have Andy Rogo, who is the artistic director for Island City Stage, another theater that I love. Wonderful, wonderful. Our guest today's name is Kern Mattei. Matt, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are here to celebrate Mai Kai's 60th anniversary. How did you manage 60 years of success?
Yes, it's taken a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of teamwork from all of our employees to make this happen.
But you know, nobody ever gets tired of the Mai Kai, which is it's the kind of place you go back to and back to. I must admit, I take my tourist friends there all the time too. But everybody loves it. Everybody does. The ambiance alone, which we're going to talk about too. But first up, it's a family affair with you. It really is, because let me just read here what I have. Your father was the Mai Kai's manager for many years. You are the general manager now.
Yes.
And your wife works at the Mai Kai as well. She was a dancer.
My mother, yes.
Your mother was a dancer. Kern started, and your teenage sons were for years entertainers and dancers. And you told me the show I just saw, one of your sons was in it.
Yes,
we're going to talk about him because he does the fire act, which is amazing in itself. I really thought it was make-believe, but we'll tell our audiences. They'll be fascinated too if they see it.
Absolutely.
But before we go on, we can't imagine anyone not knowing what the Mai Kai is. But for those who may not know what it is, could you inform our audience what the Mai Kai is?
So the Mai Kai is a Polynesian restaurant. We opened in 1956. You can come in and have a full dinner and watch our Polynesian show. And it takes you away from your normal everyday life. It's like a mini vacation all in one night.
That's a good way to put it, a mini vacation. You know what? Let's take a look. Let our audience know what we're talking about, and our panelists as well. Okay, here we are. Join us now at the Mai Kai. It's showtime. That's just a taste of what you can see. We're going to get to the part that I was talking about. I hope it's on camera, the fire.
Yes.
But we'll see. Okay, so let's talk. The dancers, where are they from?
Most of our dancers are actually from the islands. They grow up in the islands, and just like in America where the girls grow up doing ballet and jazz, they grew up doing Polynesian dancing, learning hula and Tahitian style dancing. So that's where we like to get our dancers from.
And
Tahiti, Hawaii, Samoa. So they just grow up doing that. It's in their blood, and that's what they love to do.
And it's still choreographed? Yes, that should be a question by Murray Thornton, who is now the CEO, can we call her?
Yes,
And she started as a dancer herself, didn't
Yes,
she?
she also grew up in Tahiti, and she's my aunt. So my mother and her grew up in Tahiti and learning the Tahitian style dance. And Mireille was the first one to come to the United States and get a job at the Mai Kai. And she was so good and fell in love with the Mai Kai.
And she fell in love with something else too, the boss.
She fell in love with the owner. They ended up getting married, and she became the lead dancer. And after she retired, she became the choreographer.
She's been on the show several times.
Yes.
Wonderful talking to her. There's such passion about it too.
She loves it.
It's so wonderful. It's
The
so
dance is-
authentic. You know, it's not on Broadway. It would not be authentic, but at the Mai Kai, it certainly is. And I know that everybody goes for various reasons. And Andy was telling us that you've gone several times to celebrate.
Yeah, I had my 50th birthday there. I got engaged in the gardens there.
It's so beautiful.
I'm like you, I always bring people. You know, Kern, one of the things that I found fascinating, you know, I live in Oakland Park, so I'm at the Mai Kai often. But I don't think our viewers probably are aware that the Mai Kai is really the center of tiki culture internationally, and that you host this huge event, the Hukilau, every
Yes.
year.
Yes, we do.
Why don't you tell us a little about that, and who is it that is interested in tiki culture?
Well, opening in 1956 and coming up on our 60th anniversary, we've actually become kind of what tiki enthusiasts call us, is the mecca of tiki bars, tiki restaurants, because we have a little bit of everything that a tiki enthusiast looks for. They're looking for actually some place that has some unique, original tropical drinks, and we have a drink list that features 50 different tropical drinks. We have a menu of food that features a combination of, you know, classical tiki restaurant food, as well as some modern Polynesian flair style food. And we have the Polynesian decor. So when you come into the restaurant, we have the tikis, we have the thatched huts, and to top it all off, we have the Polynesian show. So we have a little bit of everything that's involved in what tiki people are looking for. And there's a tiki website that rates just tiki bars, tiki restaurants, and everything. And every year they come out with a rating. And for the past 2 years, from the accumulated ratings, we have been rated #1 tiki bar restaurant in the world, which
Isn't
is
that something?
incredible.
About that?
So what is the Hukilau?
Now, the Hukilau is a culmination of all these tiki enthusiasts, and they do big events in California, and someone started an event here on the East Coast, and we've been doing it for the past 15 years, or actually been the host for Christy White, who actually puts on the event, and they come in, they bring people that are involved in tiki some way, whether it be cocktail specialists, tiki carvers, musicians, and it's a big event that lasts for 4 to 5 days. And the highlight of the event is at the Mai Kai on Saturday night, where they all come in, they take over the whole restaurant, bring in special bands, and we put on a special show just for them. And all these people come from all over the country, and some from other countries in the world, just to attend the event and to see the Mai Kai, as well as see the artists that come in, and the musicians and the bands, and it's just a whole unique event that's a lot of fun to attend.
Isn't there a traditional dance called the Hukilau? Am I getting that?
That's a song,
Oh, okay.
and the song is named
Yeah.
after an event that happens in the islands, where Hukilau is like a big party.
Okay.
And traditionally, they would go out fishing and bring in the fish, and they would cook it on the beach, and that's what they call a
That's
Hukilau,
what you
party on the
mentioned,
beach.
yeah.
And there's a song about it. And the girl who created the event, the Hukilau, wanted to recreate like a party. It's a party at the beach, and her party just features tiki restaurants and tiki things, and that's why she called it the Hukilau,
Oh, okay.
to bring everybody in and have a nice big party.
Okay. Well, what's the dance that the men do?
Depends on the islands that you come
Oh,
from.
okay.
There's the Samoans Lap Dance, where they come out, and it was created, they say, from the amount of mosquitoes in Samoa. And you're always slapping, try to get the mosquitoes away. So they created a dance called the Samoans Lap Dance. And this is created because of all the amount of mosquitoes. And they'll come out and just slap themselves around and create a rhythm on their bodies to simulate drums, as well as simulating getting rid of the mosquitoes. And that's might be the one you're talking about, but that's one of the more popular dances.
Do the shows change over time? If I came 10 years ago, will I see? No, I mean, to some degree, there's a tradition involved, and people want to see certain things. Do you see? Is it the same show as 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
We change the show every year.
Okay.
But we keep a lot of the same numbers in there, but we update the songs, update the dancers. Mireille Thornton, who's the owner, choreographer, she takes trips to Polynesia yearly by yearly to see what the new dance styles are, see what the new songs are. So if you go to like a competition in Tahiti, they have an annual dance fest. And every year it's like a beauty pageant or a local competition. They try to take it up to a next level. So she sees what's going on currently in Polynesian dances and brings it back to the Mai Kai.
So the art form is evolving. It's not just simply a traditional thing that goes back centuries. This is actually, there are new flares that are coming in, new...
Exactly. I mean, it involves like any other dance. Like hip hop from the 80s is different from hip hop currently. And while some people will just say, if they're not in the hip hop scene, we'll say, well, it's the same. But if you're in the hip hop scene, you'll know there's a big difference. And same thing with Polynesian dancing. It's,
and
some
there's
people
a narrator.
might say.
That's what's good. Before each dance, there is a narrator. And she or he tells the story of what they're going to be dancing. And they do tell a story, don't they, with their dancing?
Oh, absolutely.
So everything they do, has a meaning. You know what I missed this last time that was there? The wedding. You don't have it this year. Then they always have one with the wedding.
Yes, we still do. That's one of the things that we can't take out, and that's a classic wedding song. We'll update our costumes every year and change the movements every year. But people will come and celebrate anniversaries or weddings, and we do a little dedication if you're there celebrating your anniversary, if you just got married, and we'll dedicate the wedding song to anybody special in the audience.
I've never gone.
I'm sorry. Can you talk a little about the history of back how in the 50s all of a sudden we had this Polynesian craze and every city had a Polynesian restaurant, and then it seemed to dwindle a little, and why the Mai Kai has been able to survive and thrive when so many others ended up closing in cities.
Yes, well, in the 1930s and 40s we had the World Wars, and a lot of the American veterans were just going out and seeing the world and seeing Polynesia. And Trader Vic and Don the Beachcomber were back in that day, and they saw a lot of the Army men coming back craving and talking about Polynesia. And their idea was, well, I can recreate that here by opening up a little tiki restaurant, serving Polynesian drinks and serving what they called exotic food back then. And the craze caught on. And throughout the 30s, 40s, and then the 50s, Bob and Jack Thornton were two young college kids who grew up going to Trader Vic's and Don the Beachcomber, and that was their dream. They wanted to open up their own restaurant like that. And so in 1956, they opened the Mai Kai. And it was such a big success.
And you're still there.
Because that was the craze that they took all the money that they made and just reinvested it into the Mai Kai, which is kind of what made it so spectacular. If you go in and see the Mai Kai today, it's so much to see and so much to do.
The gardens alone.
It's just amazing.
I know there are people actually didn't even know there were gardens there. I think it would be nice if the maitre d' says, and don't forget to visit the gardens. They're so beautiful.
Yes, yes. We have lots of tikis out there. When we first opened, Bob and Jack were big collectors of authentic tikis. And back in the 50s, you can get tikis from New Guinea, which is part of the Polynesian Triangle, that were actual religious pieces, religious artifacts. And so they filled the gardens with those
And
tikis.
they're magnificent, they really
Yes.
are. I've taken many a picture.
Oh yes, they're
had
beautiful.
my picture taken
They're
in front of this
beautiful.
one and that one. Yeah, it's really,
And they created their own waterfalls out there,
they're
so it's just
beautiful.
walking out
Show
into
you.
an oasis when you
Yeah.
go outside.
people use the gardens for.
So is it true that back when you first opened, I don't know if this is a true story or not, but I heard when the Mai Kai was like the only thing on US 1 back then, that the dancers would sunbathe during the day and they had to stop that because cars were getting into accidents because they were stopping to look at the girls. Is that true?
That's a little before my time, but that's a story that I wouldn't doubt. Yes, yes.
But it was the only landmark, I mean, the only restaurant there, and the ambiance is outside as well, so you can see it. And it has been designated a historical landmark, hasn't it?
Yes, that we got 3 years ago, and we had to register with the state of Florida, and they granted us because of our originality in architecture and the length of time that we've been there, and the things that we've done with the community. They've given us that designation, which we are very happy to
Let's
receive.
watch a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Let's see what's going to come up. It's wonderful. I mean, I just watching them do it. I mean, I think either the girls are born to do that or not, because training, I don't know. But the men surprise me. The fact that the men, the way they are, and they're so versatile. Let's talk about that fire. A hoop of fire that they actually dance through. You talk about it.
Yes, yes. The fire dance comes from Samoa, the island of Samoa, and it's one of the dances that they do to prove their manhood, their masculinity, and their bravery. So the warriors will come out, and they'll actually put the fire on their hands. Some will put it on their tongues, and then they'll spin the fire knives and show their agility and their strength and how they're able to master the fire.
So do you go through a lot of performers that way?
Yes, yes. Well, they have to work up to that level. So,
I didn't believe.
yes.
I didn't think it was real fire. I thought it's
very
not
real and
but
very hot.
In training, you were telling me your son got burned, and
Yes, my son is one of the dancers.
dancers.
Yes, and that's one of his favorite numbers is the fire knife dance. And part of the training, it took him 2 years to train without the fire before one of our senior dancers released him and say, yes, he's ready. And part of working with the fire is getting burned. And when he first started getting burned, I said, if this is what you want to do, you have to get used to it.
Well, do you have much turnover? I mean, and I'm not being funny in the sense that the core of dancers that you will see on any particular year, is this the same group of people? Do they build up a camaraderie, knowing each other for a long time, or do you have a lot of people coming in and out?
Most of our dancers will stay there for a few years at a time. They're all mostly younger, they're 20s and early 30s, and they'll grow up, as I said, being Polynesian dancers. And if they can, like any dancer, if they can be a professional dancer and make a living at it, that's what they really want to do. So to get a job, like at the Mai Kai, to be a professional dancer is a dream. So to get there and do that and keep up the high level that we're looking for, we find good dancers and we train them. We put new shows on every year. So after a few years, some of the dancers go to college and go on to other professions, but they end up staying for a few years some up to 10 years, maybe even longer. And some of our musicians used to be dancers who transitioned when they get a little older to become musicians.
Well, do you bring them in other words, because you're such a draw and you are so well known in the Polynesian community, you're not just putting out an audition and getting local people, you're getting people coming in from all over the world? Is that,
yes,
is that right? I shouldn't, yeah.
We brought in a couple dancers about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, from Hawaii. When we were looking for dancers, the best place to find Polynesian dancers, and the easiest place is Hawaii, because they're already American. That's an American state, and we find kids that just want to be professional dancers, and over the island, some of them get island fever. They want to get off the island, and this is what they know. And if they can get a professional job over here, we'll fly them over here, and they'll usually stay with us for a few years.
That's what she does. She goes to the islands to find, has auditions like anything else, like we do here in this country for ballet or any other kind of dancing.
How long does it take to integrate new dancers into the show?
Depends on their level of expertise. We try to find dancers that know a little bit about each culture, because we have the Hawaiian style hula, the Tahitian style dancing. New Zealand has their own style of dancing. To make sure they know a little bit about each, so they can learn our style and pick up our choreography and our music. So if they're trained already, just to pick it up. Fast dancer, maybe a month to learn our choreography. But each year we change the show, and it takes 2 to 3 months to come up with a whole new show. We got new dances, new songs,
and new costumes.
Absolutely.
Do you keep any
amazing.
Traditional numbers? In the, the ones that are always the same, and
Yes,
that
yes, we
have
do.
been passed down. And do you keep any repertoire?
The wedding song is something we always have in. A drum solo, which is a competition that comes from Tahiti, where they see who can keep up with the drums. It's one of the girls' dances. We also do the fire knife dance, which we just talked about. Yes. And we do a couple hulas, which we change yearly with a new song, whether it be a traditional hula or more of a modern hula, and a couple of new Tahitian style dances. So they're all similar. A lot of people will come in and say, "Oh, it looks the same," but people who know will notice that there's differences in the songs and the choreography.
I noticed in a show, the gals and the guys, you sneeze and they're in a new costume. I don't know. And I saw the dressing room backstage. It's the size of a closet. I don't know how they do it, but wonderful. You never know what they're going to wear next, what they're going to come out. Each one is another surprise.
Yes, they put a lot of effort into creating the costumes every year. They're all hand sewn or glued on, and we bring shells from all over the world and fancy feathers and just to create the costumes. They can't make the costumes until the dances are done and they know the songs, so everything goes together. So the songs, the dances, and the costume, it's all one thing that goes together.
Can people experience the Mai Kai without seeing the show? Can they go and just have dinner? Can they go and just have drinks?
Absolutely. When you first walk into the Mai Kai, your immediate left is our Molokai bar, where you can just come in and have drinks and appetizers. And as you continue walking straight forward, you come to our showroom, where you can have dinner and watch the show. And just beyond the showroom is our Tahiti room, where you can sit and just have a leisurely dinner and look out the windows and see our waterfalls. And depending on the season, like right around now, October, November, we put more tables outside in the gardens, where you can actually sit outside in the gardens amongst the waterfalls and have dinner outside. So we are a multifaceted restaurant.
I also know you had like a little banquet center or convention center on the north side, the building. Is that ever gonna, I know it got some damage in one of the previous hurricanes. Will that ever reopen?
We are looking into that, so we're holding off a little bit. We spent a lot of money after the, I think it was Hurricane Wilma, just rebuilding and refurbishing the restaurant, because we had a little bit of damage. And we wanted to make sure that the main restaurant was up and in 100% perfect condition. And that needed a lot of work too, so we'll just hold off on that until we see it's time to put back.
Time to put back,
So
yes. I mean,
one day it will be.
Yeah, well, it's so wonderful as it is right now. And I know that every time I go, they're announcing an anniversary part, you know, a birthday or something. Always, it's a wonderful place to go and celebrate. And actually, I could see in the garden having a wedding as well. I don't know if you've ever had that. Anybody get married out there?
Yes, we happen to do a lot of weddings. It's a popular wedding destination. We'll do a wedding outside, right by our waterfalls, in front of the big giant tikis, and it creates a fantastic pictures. And after the wedding, you're already there, as you can come into the restaurant and have your reception there, whether it be in the bar or a reception with dinner in the show or a private reception in our Tahiti rooms. It's a one-stop thing for your wedding.
Do you have a website with photos and videos? And
Yes, our website has been redesigned a few years ago, so it's a modern website, and yes,
And
menus and pictures
And his website
everything you
is?
always need.
What is the website?
www.maikai.com, which is spelled MAIKAI.
Easy enough,
.com,
easy
yes.
enough. And I know now if anybody else watching has not been, they surely will go now, or as I do again and again. You can't.
Yes, yes, I hope they do.
It's a wonderful attraction. It's a very theatrical evening, too. It
Oh,
is.
definitely, definitely.
It's a very theatrical evening. And I hope you've enjoyed your evening watching us at the Mai Kai. I feel as if I've been there. And as I thank you all the time for watching us each week and hope you will continue to. Meanwhile, if you want to know what else is going on in the world of theater, just go to FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. Our arts journalist, Bill Hirshman, it's his baby. That's what I like to say. Thank you again, and thank you.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you for having me.
Good night.